So Queen Afia, if you're listening, check it out.
Domestic violence, it has to stop.
We back, baby, we
Kids
back.
are crying, it's coming down like raindrops. It's a behavior we can't condone. It's breaking up our happy homes. Let's get it together, talk about it, and let them know that they're not alone.
Young Motive is back with the topic of the day. It's a crucial situation that we all must pay more attention to. It's bringing families down. You know me, I know the truth, and I'ma spread it around. It usually happens at home behind closed doors, but it's spreading through high schools and college dorm floors. For the victim, it's like they got their head in the noose from all the scars of the physical and verbal abuse. Men do it to women, women do it to men. It's a cycle that happens over and over again. It's disturbing and far from bliss, and each and every child is emotionally affected by this. I think it's time we bring the dark to the light, to stop the 911 calls in the middle of the night. So I'm reaching out, and I hope it's worth my while. It's erasing the bond between man, woman, and child.
Domestic violence, it has to stop. The kids are crying, it's coming down like raindrops. It's a behavior we can't condone. It's breaking up our happy homes. Let's get it together, talk about it, and let them know that they're not alone. Domestic violence, it has to stop. The kids are crying, it's coming down like raindrops. It's a behavior we can't condone. It's breaking up our happy homes. Let's get it together, talk about it, and let them know that they're not alone.
Stop and think about it. This is your significant other. Why would you want your son to see you put your hands on his mother? Leaving little man shook. It's really a bad look. How he's supposed to concentrate and keep his head in the book? How's your daughter supposed to look up to dad? Don't you know?
All right. Welcome to the Purple Table Talk. We on season 2, and this is our last episode, so we gotta make it count. We finna get it in. I got my man on deck. We got a guest speaker coming out. We got Young Motive ushering us in. It's time to get live. It's time to get all the way live.
That's right, y'all.
Purple Table Talk with the men. Purple Table Talk with the men. We talking about what I call the silent weight, male trauma, and the power of community healing. The silent weight. So good evening, everyone. Tonight I want to begin with a simple truth that many people are uncomfortable acknowledging. There are a lot of men walking around in our communities carrying wounds that no one ever asked about. Not because those wounds are small, but because somewhere along the way, society decided that a man's pain should remain invisible. Many men were never taught how to speak about trauma. They were taught how to hide it. They were taught how to endure it. They were taught how to bury beneath responsibility, work, pride, and anger. So the world sees men who appear strong, composed, and incapable. Yet beneath their exterior, there are often stories of abandonment, violence, humiliation, rejection, or childhood experiences that shape the way they see themselves and the world around them. And the tragedy is this: when trauma goes unaddressed, it does not remain quiet forever. It leaks out, sometimes through destructive relationships, sometimes through substance abuse, sometimes through emotional detachment, and sometimes through behaviors that harm both the individual and the people around them. We often label as toxic behavior is sometimes the visible symptom of unprocessed trauma. Now, let me be clear about something important. Recognizing trauma is not excusing harmful behavior. Accountability still matters, but accountability without understanding merely produces transformation. If we want men to heal, communities must create environments where healing is possible. That means building spaces where men are allowed to speak honestly about their experiences without being mocked, dismissed, or judged for showing vulnerability. Because vulnerability is not weakness. It is the doorway to recovery. Community support plays a powerful role in the recovery process. Healing rarely happens in isolation. It happens in rooms where men hear someone say, I understand what you have been through. Gary, I understand what you have been through.
Chris, I understand what you have been through as well.
Thank you, sir. It happens when mentors step forward and say, you do not have to repeat the cycle that shaped your past. It happens when counselors, faith leaders, advocates, and community members come together and say, your story matters and your healing matters. Recovery is not a straight line. It requires patience. It requires humility. It requires confronting memories and emotions that many men have avoided for years. But the reward of all that work is what? Freedom.
Freedom.
Freedom from cycles of anger. Freedom from emotional isolation. Freedom from belief that pain must be carried alone. And when men begin that journey of healing, something extraordinary happens. They become better fathers, better partners, better leaders, better members of the community, because healed men do not reproduce trauma. They interrupt it. They become examples that strength and emotional honesty can exist in the same man. So tonight at this Purple Table Talk, I want us to remember something. Behind many of the challenges we see in our communities are men who never had a safe place to process what they survived. If we truly want stronger families and healthier communities, we must be willing to address the trauma that many men have been taught to ignore. Because when men heal, communities heal. And when communities heal, generations are changed. I am Christopher Barnes, one of the hosts of the Purple Table Talk, here with you tonight. I'd like to thank Queen Afia and Domestic Violence Wears Many Tags organization for powering this event.
That's right.
The first Monday, we'll be back the first Monday of every month, but this is our last episode for the year. But again, and shout out to 22 a day, 22 veterans a day commit suicide due to unaddressed trauma. So I want you to do something 22 times a day. Me, I do a kind thing 22 times a day, whether it's thanking somebody for serving or buying somebody something or whatever the case may be. But that's my way of acknowledging. I'm going to drop the mic. I'm going to pass it to my man, King G, and we're going to get it in.
All right. Peace and love, brothers and sisters. Just to come right off my brother Chris right there. Again, this is the Men Hurt Too support group. We present to you what? The Purple Table Talk with the Men.
Table Talk with the Men.
Purple Table Talk with the Men, powered by Domestic Violence Wears Many Tags. Got to give a shout out to Queen Afia and all the work that she do. Again, we are just always creating a space for men to be able to come out and share their traumas, to share different things that they experience through life, talk about sensitive topics that we were taught not to talk about, right? That's one thing about men, in a sense that we do a lot of suffering in silence, right? And we tend not to share the things that we really truly want to share because this is what we are taught. But not to get into too much of that before we get into all these different topics that we have. Let's just talk about, this is episode 6, season 2, final episode of this season. Make sure you keep your ear to the streets over the next couple of weeks, because we're going to be talking about when season 3 will be coming back out. A lot of great information in season 1, season 2. Please go to Queen Afia's YouTube page or even her live, or hit her up before a message to see the previous episodes. So many great topics that we have been going through, talking about suffering in silence, the man rules, addiction, recovery, mental health. We've had guest speakers come on talking about their current situations of gun violence. I mean, there's so many great things. Today, we are continuing always to talk about male trauma, also along with community support and recovery. We do have a great guest speaker coming on. As he comes on, we shall keep moving forward with this great thing. Matter of fact, he just came on. So before we get into introducing him, again, let me just touch bases. All right. A safe space for men to come out and share their real life experiences, real life testimonies, breaking barriers that society has taught men about how through man rules that men don't cry or men don't show emotions in certain ways, right? We are providers, and that's about it, and that only. We're not supposed to be able to tell on certain people. I mean, these are all just a few examples of some of the stuff that we have already previously talked about. We talked also about, and hit on a lot, Brother Chris, we talked about that these traumas and these things that we're experiencing as men, like especially when it comes to maybe a man being abused by a woman. I'll use that as an example, right? Men clearly act like they don't want to come forward and talk about something like that because what will be looked at as soft,
punk.
Punk, right, or whatever, right? These are the things that we're talking about. We come on here and we express because we want to go against these things because no, we got to learn how to fight for the same mental health space that everybody is deserving, right? Just because we are men don't mean that we are able to tolerate negative behaviors from women or anybody in general. But we were just hitting on that piece. But again, I just wanted to just touch bases on all the previous episodes so we can kind of all be on the same page. We're sharing powerful stories of what if we don't express these traumas positively, we will express these traumas negatively. Examples of these traumas are what? Alcoholism, drug addiction, violence, rage, even putting your hands on people. You know what I'm saying? And Brother Chris, I mean, very transparent. I'm so thankful because we are open enough to talk about these things live and direct because we've healed and recovered from these things. But if we don't allow ourselves to express ourselves positively, then we express ourselves negatively, and that's how they come about. And that's what I wanted to kind of speak on and hit on. But enough with that being said, that's the Purple Table Talk with the Men. Of course, this is the Men to Support Group. I'd like to thank everybody that's joined the line right now. How do you get men to talk or get help? We create spaces like this and encourage brothers and sisters to break the barriers, to change things. We give testimonies how we've done things opposite of what we've done, like sharing real life, like what Chris, we was on here crying one day. Like,
yes.
I mean, we literally on here crying, showing each other the vulnerability.
I can't hear him. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You can't hear us?
No, I can't hear you.
Oh wow.
Okay, still got my dad right here.
Some technical difficulties there, but I apologize. Can you
hear us now? Me?
Say it again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Right. Okay,
no. I'm hearing you, but I can't hear G.
Okay.
Well, Chris, go ahead and take it over with him. Tell him to go ahead and get started, get opened up, brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I can't hear any of that. I can't hear.
Okay, so basically, what we're going to do now at this point is we want to welcome you to the Purple Table Talk for the Men. This is a safe space, a healing space. And he was just concluding previous episodes where we talked about things like the male room, the male rules, color trauma, pink versus green, blue versus green, things of that nature. We want to welcome you to our platform, to our format. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend with us. And I don't have your bio in front of me, so I would like you to open up with a biographical statement about yourself, and then we're going to talk to you just about you and how your experiences help shape you, and with you running for office, how your experiences can help shape other people, your constituents and such.
Well, I appreciate it, and welcome me to the show, and I thank Queen for having me. My name is Kelly Michael Williams. I'm a ANC chairman here in Ward 8. I have lived in Ward 8 since 2016, but I moved here from Ward 5. But my life experience, man, has been, kind of up and down, topsy-turvy, whatever you want to call it. It's been just crazy sometimes. Growing up, it was, cool, mom and dad in the household. Then, of course, there was a divorce, and then it was just me and my 5 siblings with my mother taking care of us. But she always, she took care of us in a way that we didn't know that we didn't have. She took care of us in a way where, you didn't know that you was on public assistance or you was on food stamps, and that your living conditions were bad, because one, she always had us cleaning up. She always made sure that the house was clean or the apartment was clean. And, wherever we went, she always taught us etiquette. She taught us, how we're supposed to, walk into places, and made sure that we understood that we belonged in those places. Even, where it may have been a white establishment or Black establishment, didn't matter. But she always taught us that we belonged where we were going. And it was something that stood out to me that I made sure I taught my kids, is that when you walk into a building or you walk into a room, you walk in with the intention and deliberation that you belong. You don't hold your head down. You walk in with your head up, your chest out. And when you do that, you command the respect of the people there, even if they don't even want you there. And that's something that my dad always taught me as well. Is that you walk into places with the understanding that that's where you're supposed to be, regardless of where it is. And so growing up, we had things that were good, things that were bad. So sibling rivalries and all the things that I think most families have. When I came here to DC, I came here late 90s and started to work here, and grew and started loving the city, and never wanted to leave again. And I've been here since then and have been working in government and politics ever since. So when I got here, I was working in the White House. I was working in federal agencies. I was administrator for a federal agency, handling budgets over $300 million, staffs of 300 and 400 people, creating opportunity for Black farmers, creating opportunities for Black residents and people to be able to get jobs and get appointments in the administration, and then trickle down and make sure that we took that into the communities, into the city. I then worked for the DC City Council, worked there for 4 years, and prior to that, went into ministry. Went into ministry for 7 years, and then came out of that, went into the DC City Council, and then ultimately I became an ANC commissioner, started running for Congress. But in between all of that, right after I left the White House, I ended up homeless with my 3-year-old son.
Wow.
And that was a point of time where, growing up in church all the time, it was something that I guess you just thought it would never happen, or you thought that, the God that you serve would never allow you to actually suffer or go through what you were going through. And it was one of those times where I had to really learn how to trust God in a lot of the things that I had to deal with. And I think I mentioned it when I came out to the event week before last with Queen, is that during that time, it was a dark time for me. I had just left working at the White House and traveling the world and doing all these, what I thought were great things. Had a nice home, I had the trappings, the cars and everything. Went through a bad situation and then ended up losing it all. And during that process, I ended up getting custody of my son, and I had no place to live. I was sleeping in the back of my car at the time. And I panicked, didn't know what to do, how to do. But it was one of those things that really got me close to God and had me really recognizing and trusting that my faith and what I spoke out of my mouth was going to be the determining factor of where I would end up. And
can I interrupt for a second?
Absolutely.
Because you can't hear G, but he's asking to talk about how that happened. How you went from the White House to being homeless.
That's it. Bad situation, bad circumstances, bad relationship. And that relationship ended up costing me everything I had. And so when that happened, I sat there looking around, trying to figure out what to do, how to do. And I heard him talking about someone else about going after their son to get visitation, or their child, their daughter, trying to get visitation and doing that. Right. I had to go through the same thing. I had to go through the same thing of trying to get visitation, trying to see my son. I ended up literally, when I could not afford an attorney, I ended up writing my own briefs and being my own attorney, and having to go before the judge in the court and actually present my case. And I ended up having 167 violations.
That's a powerful move.
That's a big deal.
Trying to get visitation of my son, just to visit him. There was 167 violations. And so I had to actually go to court and defend myself and try to present that. And through that process, I got so depressed that I didn't even know I was depressed, that I tried to commit suicide.
Wow.
And,
can you hear me now?
It was a point where, because I was here alone, I didn't have family here. I had friends here, but my pride was that I had just left the White House. I just left, this big job, and I had this big house and I had all these cars, and I lost everything. So my pride didn't allow me to reach out to friends or family that much. And at that time, there had been such a strain in the family as a result of my brother and sister and other people, that I just felt lonely and lost.
Wow.
And so I ended up writing a suicide note, and I ended up taking some prescription drugs and some other pills and everything that I had. I just took it all. Didn't expect to wake up.
Wow.
And pride,
as I tell the story,
pride
thanks
was
be
the
to God,
reason
I
for
did.
that.
I woke up, and then I went and checked myself into, or let me phrase that. I tried to check myself into the old Providence Hospital. And I went down there. I walked down to the Providence Hospital, and I tried to check myself in. I went to the emergency room and told them I had just tried to commit suicide. And the woman behind the desk said, okay, fill this out and take a seat, and we'll be right with you. And so I leaned back in again, and I said, did you hear what I said? I said, I just tried to take my life. She said, I know. We'll get a doctor to you right away. Just fill this out and have a seat.
Wow.
Wow.
And I ended up sitting there for like 2.5 hours.
Whoa.
And so I got up and I walked out, and I walked to Howard University Hospital and checked myself in there. And when I got to the counter there, the person behind the counter immediately took me into the back, got a doctor, started talking to me, started treating me. And lo and behold, through the whole process, the psychiatrist or psychologist ended up telling me I was depressed because I had so much pressure and stress on me from losing my house, job, my son, money was, depleted, all these things had happened, and it happened like all at one time. So
he
it
didn't
sort
seek
of
no help
came
because
at
he
me
had
at
too
one
much pride.
point and one time, and it was like I didn't have any other thoughts of ways of trying to deal with it other than saying, I'm out. I'm just checking out.
Okay,
And,
so you can't hear
I'm glad
G.
it didn't work, but it
Well,
was a stressful time for me.
You can't hear Gary, but he's saying is the reason why you didn't.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? You can't hear me? Whoa.
No, we can't hear neither one of us now.
Oh, no.
All right, so right now we're gonna try to fix these technical difficulties, brothers and sisters. So I appreciate you. So I seen a question on there a while ago. Somebody said, "How can we get men to come on here and talk?" Right. Well, first we got to get the information out. A lot of people don't know that these platforms exist. Right. I mean, right. I was out here almost 30 years suffering in silence and didn't really hear about a place where it was cool for men to come on and talk about their traumas and what they've overcame. Right. So it's kind of like we need to get the word out. Now, specific people just might be in a space where they just don't want to just join stuff like that, right? But if you can just kind of encourage them to maybe have a 1 or 2 minute sit down to listen to some of this material, you never know what could catch that individual. It might not work for everyone, but somebody out of a group of some people will show interest to that. And you never know, that could be that one person that we touch and change their life. Because me and Brother Chris, we come on here, we talk about real life experiences.
Real life experiences.
I mean, this stuff is stuff we've overcame. I mean, we've gone through the nitty gritty of it. Hey, welcome back. Can you hear us now?
No. Can you hear me now? Can you hear?
No.
No.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me now?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay. I can't hear you, G. Christopher, can you say something?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't hear you either.
Okay. This isn't good.
Is it something on my part? Is it on my side, Queen?
I don't know.
Because I can hear Christopher earlier. I just couldn't hear G.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, as we're trying to fix these technical difficulties, I want to point something
out. Okay, why don't I log out and come back in and see if that works?
Yeah, let's try that.
Okay, I'll try that.
And again, as we try to do this technical situation, as he was saying earlier, we do have spaces like this, and this is one. I pride myself in being one of the first men to step up and say, first men that I know, step up and say, I'm gonna advocate for the male ex-abuser, and help that demographic, because again, the victim get all the help they want, but the abuser doesn't really get the help that they need. And by helping the victim, you save that life, but you allow the abuser out here to find another victim.
That's right.
So
Talk about it.
Yeah, I stepped in and helped the abuser, because when you change an abuser, you change your life. When you change an abuser, you make a better father, a better husband, a better mentor, a better coach, better all-around person.
And that's you as example right here, live and direct. That's what I'm trying to tell people, that you want to get on here, because there's people like Chris that share his story and everything he just said. Yes, and I never heard of somebody talking about the abuser side. I mean, that was amazing to me when I first caught that, because
it was amazing to me when Queen said you should talk about your story. You can help people, and I was like, really?
Same thing with me.
Year after year after year, I realized I'm really helping people, and I've been to community vigils. I've been to wherever I'm called to go. I go and I show up with my thinking cap on and in my right mind, and I address the situation. Now we got our guest back on the line. Can you hear us now, sir?
I can hear you guys now. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Look, real quick. Let's kind of like let's restructure this thing. Okay. Back where we were just sharing earlier. Episode or season 1, season 2. We talk about a lot of safe spaces. We're talking about a safe space that's created here by the Men Hurt 2 support group called Purple Table Talk with the Men, a space where men can come out and share traumatic experiences, share real life testimonies and experiences that won't have to be judged or not. We're going against things that we're taught, like through society, man rules, men don't cry, right? And they keep us all bottled up and just by saying that, you mentioned something. Listen, brothers and sisters, especially brothers, he said pride was in his way so much it allowed him to go off into the deep alone by himself, and he lost it all just by pride. Okay, there was other things with other people that don't do, because men don't want to be looked at as we're soft. We don't want to be looked at as we're failures, right? These are all the characteristics that we're taught that we have to uphold, and if we don't, we feel less of a man, right? So these are the spaces that we're coming back to show, no, that's not the case. We want to point out the experiences and the situations. Like right now, if you had somebody that could have intervened and said, don't let your pride get in the way, we can help you, you might not have lost that much stuff. You might not have went through that. So if you are listening, brothers, and you're allowing your pride to stand in the way from you to getting the help that you deserve and you need to remove that pride, especially coming on spaces like this, because they are available. They're out there. I just shared while you couldn't get on, while we were trying to get the technical difficulties, that we want to encourage people to try to join platforms and listen. Give us a few minutes and just hear what we got to say, because this is real people. I suffered from 30 years of alcoholism and drug addiction and violence and rage and gang banging. But now I walk around as a minister, right? And I can share through what kept me there. And that was me not expressing my trauma in a positive way. And it led into all of those negative characteristics that had formed because I didn't have a place where I can share my traumas at. Brothers and sisters, we got to express our trauma, because if we don't, it's like a pressure that's going to bust a pipe. Boom. And that's what happens. And you get all these crazy things. So that's kind of what we were going through episode 1, 2, and 3, different ways and different things that men have been taught through society of how we are supposed to not be able to we are supposed to accept abuse from females because we don't want to look soft. But anyway, back in all that, fast forward all the way to where we are right now. Everyone, this is our guest speaker. We're going to be going back and forth with him during this setting. Of course, we want him to share his powerful story of where he was and now where he is today. Amen. So let's keep moving forward. Brother, you can keep on sharing your testimony. I might come in and iterate for a couple of questions, but I definitely wanted to point that piece out, that pride piece. I did not look at that until you said something that I know there's been many times that I allowed my pride to get in the way for me to receive the help that I needed. Okay.
You and I both.
Yeah, and that's what it was. I didn't feel that I could reach out. I didn't feel that people would receive it if I did reach out. And so I did hold it in. I did bottle it up because I thought I could handle it. I didn't realize that what I was going through was about a depression. I mean, when the doctor said it to me, I was like, what is that?
Right.
What are you
I've
talking
been there. I've been there.
You
I know what you're talking about.
I'm not depressed. I'm fine. I'm good. You know,
Yeah.
doing my daily thing. I'm running around doing my thing. But it was depression. And with that, I had to, finally admit the fact, okay, well, yeah, I am hurting. I am disappointed. I do feel like a failure. I do feel like I'm not able to do what I need to do. And it was that trigger that caused me to say, you know what? Well, since nobody else cares about me, since I can't get a job, and as talented, as smart, and as employable as I am, no one wants to hire me. They tell me that I'm overqualified and I can't do this, I can't do that. And I just got finished working for the president of the United States. What do you mean? What are you talking about? F all y'all. Forget it. I'm out. I'm done. The court system was going against me. So I was like, forget that. I couldn't, see my child. I was like, okay, forget that. It was just a bunch of pressure that was coming at me from all angles. And like I said, it was that volcano that just everything hit at the same time. The letter came in the mail of my house being foreclosed on. My car just got repossessed. The court then sends me a letter telling me that I can't see my son. My daughter's mother, my ex, is telling me, well, yeah, you can't see your daughter either. So now I can't see my kids, right? My family is like, okay, well, we're not going to support you. And I'm just like, okay, well then.
And this whole time, all of this is going on. This is all bottled up. Like, this is all bottled up. Nobody to talk about. And I say that because guess what? We want to fight against that. So if he had known of a place, or like I had known of a place at 11 years old, suffering from the traumas, the early things that happened to me, if I knew that these places existed, if I knew that just opening my mouth and speak about it would make me feel better.
Right.
I never knew that. That's a form of therapy, right? That's healing yourself by just opening your mouth and talking, right?
Talking to somebody.
So if I knew that, so we just share knowledge. Open your mouth and talk to somebody. You'll be surprised. It could be anybody or somebody biased. Just talk about it because it's really you're healing yourself. So with that being said, that all of these things will happen. You're suffering through pride. You're by yourself. You got it all bottled up, and that pushed you into attempting a suicide. You sat in the hospital for 2.5 hours because they didn't want to give you care, I guess. So within that 2.5 hours, and you got to Howard. Something transpired somewhere. Something happened to make that turn. And I wanted to know, what was that for you? Because I know what it was for me, and it was a spiritual divine intervention. But everybody just don't get touched by the Lord all the time. And maybe if that's your story, cool. But if it's not your story, I need to know what that transfer moment was for you when you were in the hospital there. Something must have transpired.
Well, what it was that I had always grown up in church. So I knew the Lord. I was in church when this happened. So when I was coming out, I wrote the letter. It was a depressive letter because I was feeling hurt.
You wrote a letter.
I wrote the letter. Yeah.
You wrote a letter to who? Was you writing this letter to?
I was writing it to my family, to my friends.
Oh, the letter. Okay, I understand.
And it was that letter of saying, I tried. Apparently, I didn't succeed. I failed. I did this. I did that.
The Holy Spirit on me. God.
And I just left it there on my desk. Went into my bedroom, got all the pills and prescription drugs that I had, and took them. And got in bed and thought I wouldn't wake up. And when
did anybody ever see this letter?
Yeah, my dad did it when he came to get me out of the hospital.
Wow.
I gave it to him. To him.
I'm ready for the good stuff. So what transpired?
When I woke up, I was surprised and I was scared.
Oh.
And so because I was scared, I said, let me go to the hospital. So that's when I walked from my house to Providence, because that was the only hospital I knew in the area. So I walked to that and tried to check myself in. And that's when they said, sit. And so because I was so fearful of doing it or thinking that I would do it again or just knowing I needed help, that's when I walked to Howard University. And when I got there and we checked me in and said, okay, we'll take you upstairs. And they took me upstairs. And he first talked to me. He just asked me, what's going on? Why did you decide to do this? And so I just explained to him everything that was happening. This happened, that happened. This happened, that happened. This was going on, that's going on. My son, this. My daughter, that. The court's this. This happened, that. No money, no this, no that, no job. And he said, you're depressed. I'm like, what is that? And so they went to explain to me what depression is, how it's an imbalance, and all the things that go on with you emotionally and psychologically. And then they admitted me and kept me in Howard Hospital for about 10 days. During that time, I had a very good friend of mine. She worked with me when I worked in the White House. And I reached out to her because she was the only one I thought I could trust and wouldn't judge me. And I told her, I said, call my dad. I think I can talk to him. So I gave her my dad's number. She called him, and he just broke down.
Wow. I want to point something out real quick. So if you're listening, brothers, he said once he checked himself in, he started talking to the doctor. Sounds like he was a male. So then so there's the beginning of the healing process. He's finally starting right there in that moment to saying everything that's bottled up inside him that's causing him pain. So he's everything that pain's inside is now starting to come out. So that was the first form of the communication with the crowd for the help, right? But guess what? What he just said was something that we need to pay attention to, because he started to fill in the doctor filled his mind up with knowledge. He didn't know he was depressed, didn't even really know what a real signs of depression was. So he didn't have the knowledge.
Good point.
So one, he starts talking about the thing. So he's releasing the pain, but then the doctor comes back and feeds him with knowledge. See that, and the reason why I point that out is because I was able to overcome 30 years of alcoholism and drugs addiction, not only by the strength of the Lord, but I filled my mind with knowledge. I didn't know that drugs and alcohol did the chemical imbalances to my brain. So it was something going on up here that I never knew about. So once I had the knowledge of what was transpiring because of me clouding up my normal feelings with other feelings and stuff like that in foreign drugs, that I was like, well, if I remove that, then maybe this will happen. But it was the knowledge that I needed. And that's what he gave back to you, was the knowledge that you needed to say, hey, I'm depressed. I just had to stop and point that out because, hey, listen.
Not only that,
the knowledge was very powerful there.
That's the beginning of the weight. You felt much lighter once you said that stuff, I'm sure. You felt much.
I probably did. I can't recall right now what I felt. But as G was saying, King was saying that it was that spiritual moment there where I felt like, okay, because once I woke up, I knew it was just God who woke me up.
Amen.
I knew at that point, and I knew I needed to do something. And so that's what drove me and pushed me. But then, as he also said, once the doctor started telling me what I was going through, it was, in theory, it was almost automatic where I felt better in terms of what was happening.
Because now you know why, right? Oh, now I know why.
Yeah, then I knew what it was and I knew why. And because I knew what it was and knew why, I was also then being able to actually, for lack of a better word, and not to give the brothers that are listening a theory that they can do this, but I was able to control it in a different manner now. Because now I can actually handle my emotion and what I'm dealing with because I understand what's triggering it. Whereas before I didn't know what was triggering it.
You're almost able to combat it.
Right. It was just building up and building up in me. Yeah. And so once the doctor started talking to me and telling me what was happening, that because of the house, because of the job, because of the relationship, because of my son, because of the court, because of my bank account, because of the house, all these things were happening and they sort of hit at all at one time. So one hit and then I was able to take care of it. Another one hit, I probably wouldn't have gone through that, but they all hit at the same time. And it was just a loss of control because we also are men that want to control things and want to have the ability to control things, especially in our life, our personal life. We want to be able to feel like we can handle anything and we can deal with anything. And the truth is just the opposite. We can't always handle anything and we can't always deal with anything. And so we do have to talk about it. We do have to have that safe space, whether it be your girl, your spouse, your boy, your family,
your trusted person,
that you can talk to and share with. And I didn't feel I had that at that time.
Wow.
And so I didn't share or talk. And it wasn't until I went through it that the friend I had that I work with who called my dad, that we became even closer because I had to open up and share with her, right? And she became that confident that I could have where, you know, if I needed anything or if I had to talk to somebody, I can always call and talk to her. And she was spiritual enough to be able to talk with me and share with me. We would pray and everything would be fine. And so when she called my dad, when they got ready to release me 10 days later, he came to town and picked me up, took me home, and then he asked me for that letter. And I showed him the letter. And that's, you know, again, we had that moment where he was like, why didn't you call me and why didn't you do this? I was like, I don't know, Dad. I just thought that you was in the same room as, you know, the rest of the family. I thought you was, you know, believing what they was believing and thinking what they were thinking, because I just didn't feel like anybody like reaching out, calling, or talking to me. So I felt everybody in the family was on the same page that my other half of my family was on. So I just isolated.
Check this out. Real quick, before I drop this thought. How well do we prepare our children, our young men, for failure? Right? Because what I was just getting at, right, was what you were just saying, right? You was losing all these things. But in my mind, I'm like, I bet you that he would have never thought that one day in his life he was experiencing this type of loss, right? Especially when he gained all of it and was so strong and confident in his career to take these type of losses, right? So the question would be, and not saying your father and my father, and the question ain't directly for any one of us. How well have we been taught to deal with adversity when it comes to a loss and failure? Because that's one thing that we are taught as men, is we don't want to be no failures. Right. But do we talk about when we do fail? Because we are human and we are going to fail. Right. So maybe that's something that we might want to start talking about from time to time. Be like, hey, listen, when you up, you up. But when you down, you're going to be down. But you can't let that down be all the way. Because guess what? You got to understand, you will not always be up.
Right.
You know, sometimes life is down. So what do we do when we down? Right? Do we wallow around in it? Do we cry in it? Do we, you know, we stay in it? Or do we be resilient and push through? I just wanted to use that as another moment, because right there, I could hear you saying that, like, hey, wow. And I thought about it to myself, man, how well was I prepared for a failure? Because no man ever taught me that, yeah, you will fail. Right. Like, and this is what's going to happen when you fail. Like, I never really thought about that until I heard you just say that. So I just want to,
It's a good point. I want to say, or I want to think that my father talked about it.
Right.
So that I was ever prepared for it, because, you know, I'm young at that time. You know, it's like, boom, we moving, we shaking, we doing all the things.
We ain't thinking about no failure.
And so when it happens, it does, you know, shock your system. It does shock you to try and figure out exactly, you know, what's going on. What's happening.
Send you into depression.
Right. How does this happen? And it's something that I do talk to my son and daughter about now.
Good.
I held that from everyone until I got into ministry. And one day in ministry, we're in a classroom, and a young lady stood up to introduce herself, and she talked about being homeless. And the Lord just pricked my spirit to say, share your story. And so I shared my story, and then that's when she, you know, got healed to accept the fact that where she was and how she didn't have to be there and wallow in it, because I wallowed in mine, being homeless. I, you know, it was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But then once I got custody of my son, I then was fearful and scared, because I'm like, okay, why do I have custody of my son? I don't have no place to live.
That was a question that was asked earlier. Did you get custody of your son? That's awesome that you answered that.
Yeah. I ended up, you know, continuing going to court, continuing to present my case, and
it's full custody. That was the question. Did you get full custody of your son?
I got full legal and physical custody.
Wow. Okay, let's hear about that. How that went about.
So that all came about with me just continuing to go to court and document everything that was going on. I just kept writing documents, and like I said, by the end of the time that we got to it, it was 167 violations of the court order. And at one point, I kept going from judge to judge to judge to judge, and then I got before one of the judges, and it was the administrative judge, and they decided they were going to take the case and hold the case. And so they read through the entire case file, and in 2 years, I had been in court 26 times in 2 years. So I was in court almost twice a month.
Did they bring up the attempted suicide at all into this situation at all?
No. I kept that quiet and I let nobody know. I didn't let them know I was homeless. I didn't let them know I tried to commit suicide. I didn't do anything because I was determined the fact that I had prayed for custody. I had prayed that God would allow me to have my son. I just know it was going to be in that case because when the whole started, I wasn't homeless. I was gainfully employed and everything was going on fine.
Right.
At the time, it was like, yeah, no. So I ended up getting custody of him, and he was 3 years old. Got custody of him, and now my panic is like, how do I take care of him? And as I would say to anyone, God will provide. He provided in every form and fashion. We would go to the library and talk and read, and I would teach him how to read, and people would come by and give him $5, and that $5 would allow him to get a Happy Meal and something to eat. Because I would tell the story that what I would do was that I would lie to the friends I had and tell them that I had a job down in Richmond, Virginia.
I have a few Q&As. I'm sorry to stop you. All right, and I'd like to be intentional. I know time is running, so I'd like to get some of these answers as well, and we can go right back to where you were. But like, did your church family know about this, and why was the church not your safe space? Just these are questions that some audience people are asking.
At that time, the church I was attending wasn't a safe space. There was a transition in pastor, and the new pastor in that case was not necessarily. What I would say, when we would go to counseling, it wasn't a open counseling session, in my opinion. It was when we were both going together, then he didn't have time. But if she went by herself, he had time. And so he could meet with her, but he couldn't meet with me. And so when that happened, then some of the deacons started questioning me and talking to me crazy and sideways. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm sorry, bro. You talking to me?
It's a little church hurt going on,
Right.
A little church hurt going on here.
Talking to me, right? I mean, I'm coming to you straight, listen to what I'm saying, and you'll understand what's going on. Wow. And so the whole time, they were going back and forth, and I felt they were, pointing at me as opposed to pointing at the situation. Right. And the circumstance and situation was that at that time, the young lady I was with, she had terminal issue. She had a terminal ailment that she did not reveal to me before we started dating, getting together. So I didn't know anything about it. And then at the point in time when it came about, it blew up, right? But then there was some infidelity. And so now I'm dealing with the terminalness, I'm dealing with the infidelity, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's going on? But everybody's pointing the finger at me. I'm saying, but I wasn't the one that was infidelity,
And this is the church.
Yeah. I was like, I was faithful. What are you talking about? So wow. That happened. So, that part of it was like, well, yeah, I can't go to them.
Okay, that's where that came from.
I can't go to them. So
thank you for answering that.
At that point in time, I didn't have a church home. So, I just left the church.
It's very important that we have these safe spaces. I mean, I know churches are probably your ideal spot. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But sometimes, I've heard of church hurt. I actually been church hurt. I'm a young minister, man of God, and I've been hurt by leadership. Like, I'm surprised. So we can't always put all eggs in one basket, right? So what I mean by that is, of course, we would always want to say, hey, the church is the place to go. But sometimes through experiences and biased opinions, right, we end up not getting the support we needed from the church, get let down. So you have to find an alternate, right? And there could be alternate spaces like these spaces here, or hotline numbers. There's 800 numbers. There's spaces,
or just someone, like you said earlier, somebody you trust, somebody
your trusted person
you can trust, who's not going to judge you, who's going to listen.
So you was going through the cases about 26 times, 27 times in court, and then you finally that happened for you.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
The judge finally said, you're clearly not going to abide by the court order, so I'm giving custody to his dad, and they gave me sole legal and physical custody, and it's been great ever since. He's graduated from now.
Were you married to the mother?
I was not.
was not very about it. Okay, that was a question from Miss Bell, from Miss April Bell.
Yeah.
Well,
he's graduating now.
Sharing that, and I just this wants me to just also just point out to this young man. Not sure what year this was that this transpired, but a man that's willing to go to the courts and fight for his children, I got to give you applause for that. I did the same thing. I didn't run from no child support. I didn't duck from no custody. It didn't matter about that. But guess what? That's not really the every man, for some reason, only a few of us have that type of mentality, because I watched 10, 11, 12, 14, 15 other brothers that I grew up with, and they didn't have that mentality. They were like, oh, no, I'm not going to the court. I'm ducking indictments. I got warrants, or I just don't want to go in child support. I don't want to pay her nothing, blah, blah, blah. So listen, I just wanted to point that out, and I take my hat off to a real man when I see him on, and I give respects due. Thank you for fighting for your son and doing that. And I just wanted to put that out there, because young men, if you're listening, you fight for your children no matter what.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah.
All that other stuff, you work all that out later. You know what I mean? It'll figure itself out. Listen to my brother Williams right here. He's sharing you a powerful testimony. Like homeless, and now he got his son custody. Now look what he's doing. Now let's a little bit more. We keep him moving. Where are we at?
We got another question.
You got the son. You got the custody. What happens next?
Well, hold on. We got another question from the audience. Somebody's asking, why should we vote for you?
Oh, wow. Hey, look, we're going to open up the platform for you real quick. Listen, y'all heard the story. Hopefully we can get back to it. But there's a few minutes left, and I'd like for you to take advantage of this time and tell the community and tell us why the people should vote for you, brother.
I think you should vote for me for a number of reasons, but I'll break it down real simple and real quick.
That's right.
Going through what I went through and just being on this show, and I appreciate you, Queen, and King and Chris for allowing me to be here. You want somebody in office that has some lived experience to deal with and understand exactly what many of us in our community, but many people in all communities have gone through. And when legislation comes up, when funding comes up, when things come up that have to deal with humanity, which is what I believe this election is all about, humanity. You want someone to be there to be able to understand that and make a decision from that perspective, as opposed to who put money in their coffer for their campaign.
Oh, man.
I want to be able to have someone that's there. I took care of my mother for 13 years. My mother suffered from Alzheimer's and dementia. I left my work job, my good government DC job, and came home and took care of my mother. As I said at the event, I did what the word said, is you honor your mother and your father. I honored her and extended her life, I believe, for another 8 years beyond what would have happened had I put her in a nursing home or some type of facility. Amen. And left her there to the care of somebody else. I took care of her tooth and nail 24 hours a day. And I also think about the fact that because it was me, her son, and not my sister, the dignity that she may have lost and they have gained, the fact that I had to bathe her, I had to take care of her, I had to do all those things for her. And so having a man or her son do that for her and groom her and do all the things that it was necessary for her, you want someone who has that understanding, who has that compassion, who has that conviction of responsibility, and who has the understanding that everything's not going to be great, but you got to step up to the plate to make it great for the people that you're there to serve. I stepped up to the plate to make it great for my son. He is a graduate of NYU University in 4 years with over a 4.0 great GPA. Just getting his master's degree here in May of this year from Beckwith University in London, England. So that 3-year-old homeless little boy now has a bachelor's and a master's degree from 2 of the most prestigious universities in the world.
Come on.
And working out, doing what he has to do. I took care of my mother for the last 8 years of her life, and with my son helping me, with my daughter helping me. And now they were able to have a relationship with her. While it may not have been the best or the greatest because she was in that state, they still have a memory of her. They know what she did. She had a memory with them. It extended her life. So when you look at it from that standpoint, my platform is healthcare because of my mother, housing because of my homeless, and home rule because we have to make decisions in this city. If we're going to be a state or if we're going to have autonomy, we need to be able to make the decision. You don't want someone in Congress or in the White House continually making the decisions for us. We are 700,000 strong. 700,000 strong. And do you know that we pay more taxes than any other state in the country by per capita? And we have more people in the military per capita. We have more people dying in the military per capita. Our nation's capital, Black capital, is the one place where when you send somebody to Congress, put them on a city council, or put them in the mayor's seat, you want to make sure that they have some values and convictions that you hold dear. Wow. Not just the fact that they are a lawyer, not just the fact that they may have come from a prestigious school, not just the fact because you know them because you've seen them on the council. Because 9 times out of 10, you really don't know them. You just know the name. Yeah. You've seen them more often than you've seen me. Yeah. But let me tell you what I'm doing in the community that they're not doing in the community. I have a drone program right now for 14-year-olds to 24-year-olds. And in that drone program, we're teaching young kids, male and female, how to build a drone. We're also taking them through trauma, social, emotional learning skills. So they're dealing with trauma, dealing with conflict resolution, dealing with problem solving. So the things that King and we're talking about right now, exploding and going through trauma, I'm using a drone to try to teach them how to deal with those type of emotional issues so that they don't blow up, so that they don't become homeless, so they don't become depressed, right? There's nobody else on the council. There's nobody else in any of the elections doing any of that.
Hey, Ansul 286 says you got my vote. So already, you coming through with blessings. And, I didn't want to stop you there, but I'm gonna just tell you right now, relatable, transparent, and I wouldn't take nobody that ain't gone through. I wouldn't want to be, led by nobody that ain't gone through no real rough adversity and challenges. I need to see, are you tried, tested, and true? And clearly, you are tried, tested, and true.
And I'm the only one that has the experience at every level of government. So I've worked in the White House and federal level. I've worked at the state level. I've worked at the DC council level, and I'm an ANC commissioner now. So no one else has ever had that experience.
So we got just under 4 minutes left in the segment, my friend. I want to take the time and thank you for coming out and sharing your life story with us. What would you just say? Transparent, tested, and true. That's you, my friend. And I would vote for you, but I'm in South Carolina. But
donate. Go to Kelly Michael for DC. Donate.
I got you. That's how I'm gonna do it too. I'm gonna support you that way. I'm in Maryland.
Make sure you put that on the live stream, Queen Kelly and Michael for DC. So people donate to his campaign.
Absolutely.
One last question before I let you give your closing statement, because we got a time fleeting. After your Congress run, are you planning on going higher than that? Mayor, governor, president?
I don't know. I'll go where the Lord leads me. My plan is to do years, maybe 12 years, put in some term limits, get out and do something with that experience and with that ability to shape other things in other lives. I'm not trying to get up in there and stay there till, I'm old, decrepit, and dying. I'm going to get in there, do my thing, and do what the Lord told me to do and get out. If something else comes up, I certainly will. I will go wherever he tells me to go. And the reason I'm in it now is because he told me to get in it. So that's where I'm going now. So yeah, go to kellymichaelfordc.com. You can go to my website. You can see on my platform. There's a donate button there. I need volunteers to help us get out. If there's any DC voters on this line, certainly reach out, because we still got petition drives going that we have to turn in next week. We have to get 3,000 signatures. So we're a few hundred short. We got to get to that 3,000 mark. Come on. So we can make sure we get on the ballot so you can vote for me. And then, of course, we need volunteers on weekends and on election day to help us get out the vote, and just go to the doors, go knock on doors and tell people about us, and let them see that there are other people in this race that, have their values and their best interests at heart. And it's not just about the climbing the political ladder. It's about going in and doing something that's, you have conviction for. And this is the seat I have conviction for.
Okay. Now, real quick, we got 2 minutes left. Give me 30 seconds. Say something to the listening audience that men need to hear. Say whatever you think men need to hear from your mouth as a future congressman, a future current politician, or a future congressman. What do you think the men need to hear that's going to change their lives and make a difference?
I think we need to hear that we're valued.
Come on.
We are valued. And I think we also need to understand that through the grace of God, he has put us in position to be heads of households. And as heads of household, that doesn't mean that you tell everything, that you're in charge of everything. What it means is that you're praying over your family. And what it means is that you're guiding your family because you're listening and hearing from God. And sometimes it means you have to submit to your mate as she submits to you. But more importantly, you got to submit to God. So whatever God tells you to do, when you hear that small little voice in your ear, or you feel that little bubbling in your stomach, do what it says do, because that is going to help you understand exactly where you need to go. And when times get hard, get on your knees. Get on your knees and pray. And whether, you listening to people out there praying, all you need to do is say, Lord, help me. 3 of my favorite verses is Jeremiah 33:3. Psalms 15 and 150 and 50 and 15. And both of those verses say this. One of them says, when you call me, I will answer, and I will show you things that you've never known. Psalms 50 and 15 says, when you call me in the midst of trouble, I will answer. And then Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 says, lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge me, and I'll direct your path. That verse is the verse that got me through my situation, being homeless and with my son and everything else. I trusted on that, because sometimes it's not going to always, you're not always going to see what's ahead of you. And what you see isn't going to look pretty. It's not going to feel good. I'm going through that right now. I'll be very transparent, honestly. This campaign is whooping my ass. And I am trying to make sure I stay focused, but I got outside influences that are attacking me and coming after me. But I know that this is the calling that I have on my life. And I know that I don't know if I'm going to win or lose, but I know I'm doing what God told me to do.
Come on, man.
My prayer is that I'm going to win.
If God told you to do it, you can't fail, man.
That's right. I know I have the conviction to do it.
And
So and hope.
With that being said, I want to thank you, Kelly Michael Williams, for coming on.
Sir, Kelly.
I appreciate you, King G. Kali, as always, for being here. And my backup man, my right-hand man, and you handled the interview, man. I ain't really had to do much. I just got to sit back and listen. I feel like I'm a celebrity right now, and I got kind of
front row seats.
With my closing statement before the music starts to roll, I got to say, tonight we sat together and spoke about something that many men have carried in silence for far too far long. Trauma has a way of convincing people that they must suffer alone. That strength means silence, and that vulnerability is weakness. But what we witnessed here tonight proves the opposite.
That's right.
True strength is found in honesty. True courage is found in willingness to confront the wounds we have once tried to hide. Healing begins the moment we realize that we are not alone, and that our stories, even the painful ones, had the power to build bridges of understanding and restoration. For many men, the journey of recovery does not begin with answer. It begins with the conversation. Like the brother said, when the doctor started talking to me, that was the beginning of my healing. It begins with the conversation. It begins with someone saying, I see you, I hear you, and you matter. And when I asked him for a closing statement, what is the first thing that he said? You matter. Community support reminds us that healing is not meant to happen in isolation. When one person finds the courage to speak, it gives another person permission to begin their own journey toward wholeness. So as we leave this table tonight, let us carry something important with us. Let us carry compassion for one another, patience for the healing process, and the commitment to create spaces where men no longer feel they must suffer in silence. Because recovery is possible, healing is possible, and when a community chooses to stand together, restoration becomes not just an idea, but a reality. Thank you for your honesty, your courage, and your presence tonight, my friend. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Anytime.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you. Hey, everybody, Kelly Michael Williams, go check him out, support him. Hey, donate if you can. Get the signatures. Tell your family that's in DC, check him out. I tell you, this is a good one right here. I really appreciate your transparency too. If anybody wants to listen it up as a recap, man, hey, he spoke about where he was at one time, all the way experiencing the homeless to now running for Congress. I mean, you can't tell me that things can't be done. They all can be done. It says in the word in Romans 8:28 that all things work together for good for those that love God and that are called according to his purpose.
That's right.
And he always iterated everything that he was doing was about the good Lord. He said some very good advice. Pray, have value.
Annie, send me an email. I'd love to have your help. Annie Sewell, send an email to us. I'd love to have your help.
That's right.
To the website.
Hey, I'm so thankful. I'm so full of the knowledge you gave tonight. We pointed out pride. We pointed out knowledge. We pointed out preparing our youngsters for failure because it's going to happen. Right. What do we do when we experience it? Like so many great things and things were covered on topics tonight. And then the powerful of your testimony, it just lets you know that it's not how you start, brothers and sisters. It's how you finish. Okay? Ooh, yeah. It's not how you start. It's how you finish. And this is a real life example. I am a real life example. Chris Barnes is a real life example. We real men that face real challenges in life, real adversities. We were able to overcome them. And not only did we overcome them, we come back to our communities and we teach against them. Okay, we are supporting, uplifting our people. We are doing no due diligence to our people if we keep all this information bottled up in silence. We must talk about it, share about it, and give the real to life experiences. Right? Hey, God is great. To God be the glory. Purple Table Talk with the men. Queen of Fee, you've done it again. Domestic violence wears many tags. Men hurt, true support groups in the building, y'all. That's right. Got you, Michael Williams. Hey, you're a blessing. You're a blessing.
You're a blessing.
Absolute blessing.
A true soul.
Appreciate you. You as well. You as well.
Thank you.
Hard to overcome 30 years, man. That's hard. So I congratulate you.
Yeah, 30 years. From 11 to 41. Yeah. 11 to 41.
But now you good. You on year. Now you good. You on year number 6. I'm on year number 26.
5 going on 6, but hey, that's faith. Hey, speak it over my life. And you too, Mr. Williams, like, speak that over your life. I hear you standing strong. And the great thing you said is regardless of what happens, you're doing what God wants you to do. So, hey, you helped me. Since I met you, you helped me tonight. Whoever brother was listening, I'm pretty sure you helped them. And this is going to continue to help people. So thank you for, if anything else transpires, thank you for helping me, man. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you. I needed that. I needed that.
We definitely, man. That was a good talk, man. That was a good talk. You and him had a good dialogue, man. I learned a lot from the brother, man. I'm glad he was on with us. And
Me too.
Shared his story, man. You know.
Yeah. You know. Y'all be ready for episode season 3, y'all. 3. Hey, look, there it is. Thank you for the September. 3 in September. Let's go. September it is.
Yeah. It gets better and better. The more we do it, the better we get at it.
Yeah, that's right. We hitting them real topics. We hitting them real topics.
Purple Table Talk.
To teach these things, it's just my expression of
the same thing that you were saying earlier, though. Like when you asked me to come speak, it was the first time I ever spoke to support group online. I mean, I did in recovery when I was in recovery, but when I came out, that wasn't nothing normal. We were forced to do that. We were in lockdown recovery, so we had to go. You know, we had to be there. I don't want to participate. I ain't got nothing to do. But when I came back to the real world,